Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to In His Will. I promised you a couple of days ago something a little bit more upbeat. Some of you saw my post, my video about the death of Charlie Kirk, which has been so devastating for so many of us. Not only because of Charlie's goodness, but because of what it represented. And I thought about there were so many things that I could come on and talk about, but um, I was praying and the Lord led me to um, this, the Diary of Saint Faustina. And I love this diary, and as you can see, I make a lot of notes and a lot of things in the diary, and he brought me to this section, and it is diary entries 283 through 285, and so I wanted to read those because they brought great comfort to me, and they're full of wisdom. They're full of Faustina. You know, our saints struggled. Sainthood is not an easy road. It's not an easy path. It's full of suffering. It's full of things that we'd rather not experience. Um, and so he led me to this 283. God, one in the Holy Trinity. This is Saint Faustina. I want to love you as no human soul has ever loved you before. And although I'm utterly miserable and small, I have nevertheless cast the anchor of my trust down, deep down into the abyss of your mercy. O my God and Creator. In spite of my great misery, I fear nothing, but hope to sing you a hymn of glory forever. Let no soul, even the most miserable, fall prey to doubt. For as long as one is alive, each one can become a great saint. So great is the power of God's grace. It remains only for us not to oppose God's action. Oh, Jesus, if only I could become like mist before your eyes to cover the earth so that you would not see its terrible crimes. Jesus, when I look at the world and its indifference towards you, again and again it brings tears to my eyes. But when I look at a cold soul of a religious, my heart bleeds. Once, when I returned to my cell, I was so tired that I had to rest a moment before I started to undress. And when I was already undressed, one of the sisters asked me to fetch her some hot water. Although I was tired, I dressed quickly and brought her the water she wanted, even though it was quite a long walk from the cell to the kitchen, and the mud was ankle deep. When I returned to my cell, I saw the ciborium with the Blessed Sacrament, and I heard this voice: take this ciborium and bring it to the tabernacle. I hesitated at first, but when I approached and touched it, I heard these words: approach each of the sisters with the same love with which you approach me, and whatever you do for them, you do it for me. A moment later, I saw that I was alone. Jesus led me to that reading. There's no question about that. I had no idea where I was going to pick up that book and read. And I thought it was so appropriate and so tendered toward what I have been feeling. God asks much of us. He does. He doesn't. Sorry. He says, give. Give. If you're tired, if you're discouraged, if you're worn out, if you don't see the point, You start to lose your way. St. Faustina had tuberculosis and she was very ill. And yet, after a very long day, doing whatever she had to do, that was her calling, her chore, her duty there, a sister wanted hot water. She dressed. She had to walk outside to get to the kitchen to get the hot water in the mud. And certainly she was a little tired and maybe a little irritated, maybe a little, okay, I know what Jesus wants me to do and I'm going to go ahead and do it. But, I don't know if you guys ever feel this way. Sometimes you feel this way. It's like, okay, God, I'm going to do what you asked me to do. But, really? Really? It can be discouraging sometimes. Very discouraging. And there's much that has discouraged me recently. I have to tell you the truth. The truth. Something horrific happened in our country. A truth teller was gunned down in broad daylight in front of many, many, many people. They caught him today. I knew that they would. Our president wasn't going to, they were not going to stop until they found this man who did this horrific deed. And I just needed some comfort. I needed some words. This has shaken me. And you know me. Those of you who follow me, you know me. You know me that I proclaim loudly that the benchmark of the divine will is peace. Peace in your soul. Peace in your life. But these are the testing times. These are the tests. These are the tests that God brings to us sometimes. Okay, Debbie, really, how deep is your peace? How deep is it? He has planted peace in me, but I have to cultivate it. I have to keep it fed. And I keep it fed through prayer, through meditation, through reading, through doing what God has asked me to do and keeps doing. No, not, even if it gets discouraging or disheartening, disappointing. And this reading helped me so much. It helped me so much. He said, treat the sisters as you would treat me. He appeared as a ciborium. Here I am in the most blessed sacrament. How are you going to approach me? Are you going to be, annoyed? Are you going to be discouraged, disappointed? Am I asking too much from you? I gave you everything. I give you everything. I even gave you the divine will. And so it reminded me, do not let trials trip you up. Debbie, we're going to feel them. And we feel them deeply. And sometimes I think it's the reaction of people to the trials. The reaction of people, I have to say, the priests in my parish refuse to talk about this. They won't talk about it. I'm sure they have their reasons. In my mind, Charlie Kirk was a martyr. He was a martyr for truth and for the faith. And maybe some people think I'm making too much of his life or what he did. But if you were in the United States of America, you saw what he did. He confronted the lies of the evil one. But Jesus says, take heart. Take heart like Faustina did. She was tired. She was discouraged. She was sick. She was asked to do things maybe she didn't really feel like doing, but she did them. She did them in service, in love. I'm sure that there are times when many of us are asked to do things maybe we just don't feel like doing. I'm sorry, I promise. I will eventually quit crying about this. I don't know if that's coming anytime soon, so I won't make promises for that. I'm deeply disappointed. I'm deeply hurt, deeply rattled by this event. And if you're a United States citizen, you know what I mean. The whole country is rattled. A truth teller, a Christian man, 31 years old, gunned down in front of our eyes. But Jesus says, I am your Jesus of mercy. We do not know. We have to remember, God is merciful. He says in this book here to Faustina, my mercy exceeds my justice. I'm more just than I am merciful. Merciful than I am just. And I am perfectly just. I read on, 286. Once after an adoration for our country, a pain pierced my soul and I began to pray in this way. Most merciful Jesus, I beseech you through the intercession of your saints, and especially the intercession of your dearest mother, who nurtured you from childhood, bless my native land. I beg you, Jesus, look not on our sins, but on the tears of little children, on the hunger and cold they suffer. Jesus, for the sake of these innocent ones, grant me the grace that I am asking of you for my country. At that moment, I saw the Lord Jesus, his eyes filled with tears. And he said to me, you see, my daughter, what great compassion I have for them. Know that it is they who uphold the world. Faustina had to beg for her country. Many of us are begging for our country, the United States of America. Many people around the world are begging for the United States of America. And I have always tried, you know, that I've always tried to separate world events from much of what I teach, much of what I do. But I had to turn to Jesus and his mercy for strength in this situation. I really did. I pray in the divine will, I meditate, I contemplate these things. You should contemplate these things, I believe. We all should. We all need to pray. Pray for every soul. Do something hard today. Pray for the man who shot Charlie Kirk. Pray for the evil ones in this world. Pray for the people who are celebrating the death of such a good, kind, and righteous man. And then, God help me, let's take a look at our own hearts. This is where this has led me. Debbie, what do you truly believe? Really? It's a test. It's a test. As I said on Wednesday, Charlie's fine. Charlie's okay. His wife is a great woman of faith. Many of you maybe have seen the pictures as they were driving away from the hospital with Charlie's body. She was holding his rosary out the window of the car, just signaling to people, pray. This is what was around Charlie's neck when he died. Pray. Believe in the Blessed Mother. Trust in her care. Trust in her. Her motherly love. Her motherly attention to us. She is giving me so much comfort. She is giving me so much insight, I think, to Saint Faustina is a great saint. What makes her great? Her faith. Her insignificance in the world. She was insignificant in her life. The sisters made fun of her. Some of them thought she was crazy. She wore her habit until it was in absolute rags. She thought so little of herself. She was so humble. How much humility do we really possess? And why is it important? I started this channel because I felt like God had some things he wanted me to say. He wanted to say through me. That's what I should say. Not what I say. What I say means nothing. Trust me. It's not that important. It's not that great. But what God wants to say is. And sometimes he talks to me and then I talk to you. And today he talked to me through the diary. And he said, stop thinking about yourself. Stop thinking about your loss. Stop thinking about your discouragement. Stop thinking about your little hurt feelings because your priest won't talk about, what you think he should. See, I tell you guys all the time, I'm far, far from where I want or need to be. But I'm working on it. As we all just have to work on it. Had a long talk with my brother today. Had a long talk with another one of my brothers last night. I'm so grateful for family. If you have siblings, if you have people in your life that you can talk to, who help center you, who help ground you, get on your knees and thank God. You have been blessed beyond measure. the people who surround us, who give us hope and clarity, the things that Jesus has given to us. Give us hope and clarity. Faustina died when she was 33. She died very young. Therese died at 24. Catherine of Siena died at 33. Carlos Acutis, Pier Giorgio, Maria Goretti, Gemma Galgana, many, 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 many saints have died young. Maybe when you're 15, 33 doesn't sound that young. When you're my age, it sounds very young. There's a whole lot of life ahead. Each one of us have a road. Each one of us have a purpose. And when God completes his purpose in our lives, we should be grateful, thankful. Some crazy person, killed, martyred a man that spoke truth. How many times has that happened, especially in our own country? These men weren't perfect. They weren't, without flaw, without sin. But God says, Jesus says, I am your Jesus of mercy. I am your mercy. Be merciful. Be like me. Have mercy. And I have to tell you that the hardest merciful act I can think of doing today is praying for the man who shot Charlie Kirk. But that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray for those people who are celebrating things they should not be celebrating. And I encourage you to do that as well. If we're tired, if we're sick, if we're discouraged, if we're overwhelmed, call on Jesus for mercy. He will pour it over you abundantly. He says, I came to give you life and give it in abundance. What does that mean? That doesn't mean it in years. It doesn't mean in longevity. It doesn't mean in money. It means in spirit. We are spirit. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. It's our spirit that counts. It's our spirit that lives. It's our spirit that gives life. Feed your spirit. We're so worried about feeding and clothing and housing our bodies. Feed your spirit. Feed it with the words of Christ. Feed it with prayer. Feed it with contemplation. Just contemplate on the love of God. Sometimes this world doesn't seem very loving. I get it. I really get it today. I really do. But nonetheless, it is. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. I'm just rambling on here. But I read that in the diary today, and I was like, I just think we need to keep our focus. We need to keep our alignment intact. If you're in my Cenacles, I talk about this alignment all the time. alignment with God. And if you're not in one of my Cenacles, please write me. Be happy to add you. I just want us to unite in continuing in our faith, regardless of what is going on around us. I found out yesterday that the Missouri House of Representatives for the state of Missouri just was in an uproar. People left because they were scared. Protesters outside, people banging desks and screaming inside. What has happened to us? We are fighting a spiritual battle. The only thing that can defeat spirit is spirit. That's our prayer. That's our focus on God. That's our focus on the heavens. Call on St. Michael the Archangel. Call on the angels. Call on the saints. Pull out every spiritual weapon you have. Say the rosary. Say the chaplet. Use your weapons. One of our greatest weapons, those of us in the divine will know that our greatest weapon is our ability to live in the divine will, not our own will. My own will wants to be mad at somebody right now. My own will wants to be disturbed. I'm not saying that in some circumstances anger isn't appropriate. It is. Jesus got angry. But we have to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is the fact that we are fighting a spiritual battle. And in this spiritual battle, we can't afford to lose our focus on what's happening around us. And this little example of St. Faustina, tired. How many times have you gone to bed? You've gone to bed before so tired you could barely get undressed to get in the bed. And some of you with small children have experienced this. You were so tired you could barely get into bed, and your child needed something. And you had to get up out of that bed. Maybe they were sick. But there was no question what you had to do. There was no question about what you were going to do. And I think what Jesus is telling me today is don't get tired. Don't get discouraged. Don't get exhausted in this spiritual battle. Keep the faith. Keep praying. Keep meditating. Keep calling on God. Keep living in the divine will. I will raise you up. I will give you strength to keep going, to keep fighting this spiritual battle. I don't know. I don't know if any of this is going to even make any sense. Many times when I speak, I don't know if it's going to make any sense. If there's something Jesus compels me to say, I have to say it. I'd ask you to keep me in your prayers. I was going to read Son of My Will today, and I may still do a recording on that, but I can't find the book. Can't find the book. I'm sure that it is right here in front of me someplace, and I just can't see it. Sometimes the evil one, sometimes the evil one will affect our ability to see even things like that. So pray for me. I'm praying. God will show it to me. It's right. I know it's right in front of my face, but I can't see it. Another lesson for us. The evil one will put things right in front of our block our sight. If we don't stay in this alignment. So I'm going to end here because you get what I'm saying. Keep fighting. Don't shut up. Keep fighting. Christianity is being attacked. We're in a war. We're in a war. It's a spiritual war. Politics is not going to fix it. Politics cannot fix a spiritual war. Only spirit can fix a spiritual war. We have to live in spirit. We have to think in spirit. We have to act in spirit. We have to act in the divine will. Let Jesus do it. He has a plan. Believe me, believe me, believe me. He has a plan. I believe that with everything in my being. Satan might win a skirmish here and there, but he does not win the war. Keep fighting. Keep praying. Keep speaking the truth. And keep living in His will.